Today was the first day of my second draft of edits. You saw me go through my readings. You saw me going through making little notes in my little composition notebook there. Today was just me going through making the first actual changes to everything. So that was the crux of my afternoon. Admittedly, I didn't do a whole lot today. It was, again, one of those nice days out where I spent a bit more time just going for walks around the area. Didn't get necessarily as much work done as I have had in the past. And with that, though, I mean, I do have to say, this sabbatical, if I can ever encourage anyone to ever be in a position where you can take one of these, or if you're interested in taking one of these things at all, I would encourage you to try and perhaps find a way to do it, because this has been like writing on steroids. It really has. And I say that both with a bit of a deeper comparison than just that. I mean, when I say writing on steroids, obviously I mean that you're pushing. You have the ability to increase your writing. Your writing performance is so much. It has improved when you don't have other obligations. The quality of your writing tends to improve. Your focus, and I think overall my writing in general has gotten better during this time period. But when I say writing on steroids, there's also I suppose a deeper comparison as well. And it's a bit of a convoluted example here, but I hope the point kind of comes across. So when someone starts taking steroids for the first time, what often happens is that you can go through your workouts that you're doing before and you feel excellent. Like whatever like program you were doing, whatever workout you were doing before, when you start adding steroids into that, your recovery is so much better that you feel excellent. Like you if you train, say, 4 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week, you can go back, train 4 or 5 days a week, and you feel great. You feel excellent. And what happens is people that take them will start getting the mentality of, okay, great, now let's double it. Let's start working out 6 days a week instead. Let's start doubling our workouts, start doubling everything that we're doing, because now that we're taking steroids, we can do more. And the immediate reaction from those that perhaps are a bit wiser to this usually is, well, you just told me you were taking them and you were feeling great and things were going well. Why are you changing it now? And that's kind of how I approach a sabbatical here. That tends to be, I suppose, the dueling mentality of, hey, I've got more time. Let's push myself a little bit harder now. Let's go a little bit more. Let's go to this greater extreme. Write more than you have before. Get more done than you have prior, because you have this opportunity. Go harder than you did. And the other side of the argument is, well, if you're feeling good doing the same quality work, doing the same volume of work that you were doing before, and now you're feeling better and more recovered, and your writing is getting better because you're taking perhaps more time off from writing, you're spending more time in that recovery mode of being away from the keyboard and thinking, and you're less stressed, why change it? Why rush that? Right? It's very much a quality quantity sort of mentality. And I find myself always dueling with that. In a lot of these videos, you might notice that I don't necessarily contradict myself, but you'll notice ones like, say, yesterday, where I mentioned that writing is not a Rocky movie, right? Writing is not it's not a coming in basically grinding every single day. It's this very sort of calm process, and that's certainly true. But I don't want people to get the wrong idea that you don't put the effort in to actually write, that you're sort of skipping, and you're not putting the time in. Well, when I say that kind of video, what I'm referring to is just being aware that you can't just come in with this mentality of, I'm going to crush, I'm going to hustle today and get all this done, and instead be more open to just being conscious of the process. But with my videos, I've talked about the idea of taking it easy, of perhaps taking it a bit slower, going with my perhaps the same amount of time that I was writing prior, and keeping that up, and so not necessarily increasing the amount of work that I'm doing a day. And then you'll probably see other videos of me before where I talk about how I've had like a great session. I've written maybe 8 hours a day, or I've written I don't think I've ever written full 8 hours a day, but you'll see where I've written most of the afternoon, most of the morning, most of the afternoon. I've done this great output, and this great quality of work seems to come from that large output, and I'm always kind of dueling back and forth. And many of the reason why is it's as much about my reflections of that day as it is just my own, I'm not sure if it's conscience, but my own kind of inner warring mentality right now of which way I should approach it. Should I be the one that's going all out, that's going 100% basically every single day because I have the time to do it? Or should I be the person that, hey, listen, keep doing what you were doing before, making slow, smaller progress, but feeling good, not feeling overtaxed, not being mentally strained, basically, not going back to the keyboard every day exhausted. And in truth, writing is a little bit different from other activities. You don't necessarily need as much recovery, I don't think, as other activities. Like the idea of taking mental time away from the keyboard, I don't think it's as strenuous as physically needing time to recover from exercise or like labor type jobs at all. But with that being said, there is something to be said for if things are going well and you're feeling good and you're making small progress, don't change it. Despite the fact that maybe you're squandering, maybe the fact that you haven't gone all out, you've wasted potentially weeks or months when you're finally back in the working world, that you could have already been perhaps weeks or months ahead, closer to your goal of publication than you were than when you ended up actually being. And so, like many of these videos that I tend to do where I tend to ponder these topics, I don't really have an answer. This is, I guess, something as much as what I'm trying to figure out is maybe what I'm trying to throw out there for someone else to consider. Do I double my time? Do I double the time that I'm working on my writing right now? Do I double the output? Or do I stick with what I've been doing prior and enjoy the time away from the keyboard, enjoy that, use that to perhaps unwind and to kind of recover, and be okay with my work taking a bit longer to get done? I think ultimately it'll probably just come down to how I mentally feel about it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's simply what what we're talking about really is just deadlines, right? Am I okay with waiting for a longer deadline? Am I okay maybe taking some extra months to get this project done when it could be done quicker if I worked harder during the hours that I'm given? And if I'm okay with that, then go forward. That's probably how I view it. That's probably what I think the answer to this is, and it's something that I'm still trying to figure out for myself.